On June 12th, CMS just didn't add EDPS edits. CMS also turned some off. 2 edits that has been rejecting chart review records got deactivated, which means if your team was getting bounced back because of those edits, then now you can cross-check, and if you feel like those records will be accepted now, you can go ahead and start submitting them right now. That is real risk adjustment payment that may be sitting right there in your databases. But here's the catch. It will trip half of the health plans reading the memo. The original HPMS memo that came out said that these edits started in March, but CMS followed up again saying that these edits started in June. So knowing the timelines really help you to know which records were actually rejected and therefore which ones needs to be resubmitted if you feel like those will be accepted now. Hello, my name is Dr. Prince Baawuah, and today at the Hughes Academy Risk Adjustment Made Easy, we will finish the supplemental benefits overhaul for June 2026. 2 edits got stricter, 2 edits got turned off, and 1 date that you need to get right. Let's get into today's. Throughout this month, we looked at the HPMS memo that CMS had published. In week 1, we mapped the release and look at it from an overall perspective. In week number 2, we looked at the 2 new rejects, which is 19025 and 19030. And today we'll finish bucket 1, which has 2 edits that got stricter and 2 edits that got turned off or retired. And the same rule underneath. Supplemental benefits goes to EDRs and counter data records, not on chart review records. And CMS just enforced that from 4 more angles. And if you missed week 1 or 2, I will encourage you to look into the notes to get the links to the week 1 and the week 2, because today is built on top of it. In February 2024, CMS informed the industry of its intention to start collecting supplemental benefits on encounter data records. The industry was informed that supplemental benefits goes on EDRs but not on chart review records. And default codes are EDR only, because if supplemental benefits data are going on EDRs, then the default codes that CMS release also goes on EDRs, not necessarily on chart review records. And they exist only to fill required fields on the EDR when the real data doesn't exist for a supplemental benefits submission. A chart review records, which you can identify that with PWK01 equal to 09 and PWK02 equal to AA, adds or deletes risk adjustment eligible diagnoses, while encounter data records are for submitting services that are being provided. In the HPMS memo that we've been studying throughout this month, CMS also released a modification on edit 1900, which got stricter, which is Invalid Supplemental Benefit Submission. This is a line level reject on professional, institutional, and DME, and it checks the supplemental benefit code on PWK06 to make sure that it is valid for the service date. CMS publishes the supplemental benefit codes, and CMS is cross-checking that the codes that are being submitted on the record is valid for the date of service. Also, CMS removed the bypass on chart review records. A chart review record is invalid. PWK code now rejects by the line, just like an EDR. So CMS removed the bypass that was on chart review records because the data needs to be submitted on encounter data records. Also, CMS also got stricter on the 19005. With this one, there's a service line and a header level reject for professional, institutional, and DME as well. And when a default code is present, the supplemental benefit indicator must be 2. So if you are submitting encounter data records and you are using supplemental benefits default codes, like the SBS D1 for diagnosis, this one P1 for procedure, and revenue code for 111, then the supplemental benefits designations has to exist, right? So you're using the default code for supplemental, but you are not designating the record as supplemental. It doesn't make sense. CMS has this in there to reject records that have supplemental benefit default codes and do not have the supplemental benefits indicators. For it to pass, you want to make sure they are all aligned. And this is also being bypassed or removed from chart review records as well, because what we have been learning, these are for encounter data records. Two other edits that CMS deactivated. It is edit 19010, supplemental service on chart review not allowed, and 19020, chart review record linked to supplemental services. These were replaced by the precise edits that we discussed last week. So these were switched off, and per the C guidelines from the HPMS memo, if you have submitted any record that were rejected, any records that were rejected because of these edits, look through your records, and if you feel like they will now be accepted, make sure you submit them for them to be accepted because of these edits. One thing that you need to keep in mind is that on the original memo, CMS said that 19010 and 19020 were deactivated on March 20th, which CMS corrected that by sending that it was actually June 12th. So if you are looking through your records and finding the records that potentially you think is going to be accepted again and needs to be submitted, make sure you are using the correct date that was in the recent memo. That was in the memo that CMS resent to the industry. Correcting the effective date is June 12th, not necessarily March 20th. And because of that, you can identify the records that needs to be resubmitted and resubmit to CMS for them to be accepted. One move this week: pull all the records that may have received 19010 or 19020 and look through them. If you audit them and you validate that records should have been accepted, do your very best to resubmit these records back to CMS. And also, you can do your audit with the 1900 and 19005, validate CRRs, sweep the chart review pipeline before you submit. And if you're using default supplemental benefits codes, make sure that you are using the correct supplemental benefits indicator so that they match. Otherwise, it will be rejected. So these are some of the things that you can actually do this week as you study through this with me. We have gone through week 1, week 2, week 3, and next week we'll be going through week 5. This is our schedule for this week and this month goes into 5 weeks. So next week we'll be moving on to week number 4. But before you go, I want to invite you again, if you have not already received your free signature gift. It is From Chaos to Clarity, the one-page cheat sheet that maps fee-for-service claims, RAPs, and MA encounter data records side by side for you, and you can use that to compare data that are used for Medicare Advantage risk adjustment. You can get your free copy at the website go.thehillsacademy.com, and it will take you here and you can download your free copy. You also get the privilege to be part of our family, that you don't miss anything from us. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us, and we will catch you same time next week. Bye for now.